Good morning, Year 2. Today we're going to be looking at the book Augustus and His Smile. So looking at this front cover, you may have already had a chance to see the story has been read beautifully by Mr. Guevara. I'd like to think about what makes you smile. Augustus looks, I'm assuming, is the front character on the front cover of this book. He looks really happy. He's got a little butterfly on his nose. He looks very gentle, which is not always what I think of when I think of tigers. So let's have a look and see what it's all about. So for background knowledge and key vocabulary today, Mr. Guevara identified 3 key words and an almost 2 words together to make an almost phrase. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to read the word in the colour and read the definition. Now you'll see here that it says a cluster is a group of things. Shoals is a large number of fish swimming together, and you can see that in this picture here. Reminds me almost of Finding Nemo. That's what I visualise when I think of that word. Scaled, to climb up or over something. Now scaled here is a verb, so it's about climbing, it's the motion. And another verb word that we have here is pranced and paraded. To walk or strut in a proud way like you are dancing. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to try writing or just saying all of these words in a sentence of your own. Now today I'm going to be using our George Spicer talk frame, which is something that you should have used in your lessons before. We're going to focus on specific skills as we're reading today, particularly clarifying, inferring and visualising. And at the end of our session we're going to come on to summarising as well. You might want to challenge yourself as you're reading to make connections. What does it remind you of? Who does this character remind you of? And have you read a book that is similar to this before? So, today, for our reading for meaning focus, we need to remember that as we're trying to answer our questions, if we don't understand, we must have that uh-oh moment. We must stop, we must think, and we must go back. Now today what I'd like you to think about focusing on is reading some words by sight without sounding them out. So this is thinking about using your memory, and rereading the sentence is if you've sounded out lots of words. Do not read like a robot. So in Year 2, what we're looking for is for you to be fluent readers, and that means you recognising the words and reading it from memory. So this is now my teacher read aloud. I'm going to use the sentence stems on the right hand side to help support my reading for meaning. If you spot me reading like a robot or sounding out too many words, then I do need to go back and remember that. Augustus the tiger was sad. Now from the front cover of the book, I know that this book is about Augustus and his smile, and he did look quite happy with a butterfly perched on his nose. So I wonder why he's sad. He had lost his smile. So he did a huge tigery stretch and set off to find it. Now in my head I can visualise this huge tiger, this big tiger, and I'm imagining the stretch that you do in the morning when you wake up, when you move your arms nice and wide, and that's kind of how I think of us getting ready for our day. So maybe this is how Augustus is getting ready for his adventure. First, he crept under a cluster of bushes. Now I know that word cluster means a group of, so a group of bushes. Now it's the word here, crept. I think it means that he moved quite slowly and quite quietly. So I think he's being quite sensible in the way that he goes about his mission at the moment. He's really taken his time, and maybe he doesn't want to disturb anyone, or maybe not just anyone, but his smile. He found a small shiny beetle, but he couldn't see his smile. Then he climbed to the top of the tallest trees. So he's been to some bushes, he's been to the top of the trees. Now both these places are quite different, and it's also said, so he's crept and he's climbed. Now to me this sounds like that Augustus is showing quite great perseverance, and also that he's quite adventurous. He's willing to do anything to find his smile. He found birds that chirped and called, but he couldn't find his smile. Further and further Augustus searched. So this phrase continues to make me think that Augustus shows great perseverance. He scaled the crests of the highest mountains where the snow clouds swirled, making frost patterns in the freezing air. Now, the word in red was a word we clarified earlier, and that's the word scaled, and that meant to climb up something. And here you can see that we've got the highest mountain. Now, I don't know what the word crest means, but if I think about breaking it down, that also doesn't help me. So I'm going to read around it. Now, when I look at the picture, I've got a picture of a mountain. It's talking about going up to the highest, and I think the word crest might mean the top of the mountain, where the snow clouds swirled, making frost patterns in the freezing air. So this part is also quite different in climate and temperature in the way it looks. So we've got bushes and trees and frost patterns in the freezing cold as well. So Augustus at this point, I would imagine, is still quite sad, and he's still on his journey. Now this is the part I'd like you to read. We're still thinking about our inference, our clarification, and our visualising. As we're reading, all of the time, think about what you're picturing, what's going on, what's happening in the story. And alongside this, you can actually watch Mr. Guevara's video to see the pictures in the story. He swam to the bottom of the deepest oceans and splished and splashed with shoals of tiny, shiny fish. He pranced and paraded through the largest desert, making shadowy shapes in the sun. So what I'd like you to think about is what is the word class of the word swam? Is it a verb or is it a noun? And also, what is the tense? Is it happening now or has it already happened? Now we know he's climbed up a tree, he's scaled to the top of a mountain, and he's also rummaged around bushes. The next thing he's doing is swimming to the bottom of the ocean. What does this tell us about our character? We clarified the phrase shoals and pranced and paraded earlier too. I'd like you to now visualise, what can you see Augustus doing at the moment? What does this remind you of? He's been to the ocean. He's also been somewhere else, our orange phrase. And in contrast to the page we read before where it's talking about our frosty patterns, he's now making something different. Why would he be making shadowy shapes and not frosty patterns? Where is he now? So today we have 5 questions and an extension. Question number 1 says, who is the main character in the story? So it's a who question. Now the phrase main character, if you are the main something, you're like the most important, and a character is someone in a story. So if I think back to Monkey Puzzle, the monkey was one of the main characters because the story was about him and he was featured in the story a lot. So think about who the main character is in this story. Question 2 and 3 are asking for quite similar things. They are both find and copy, but this time instead of find and copy one word, we're looking for 2 words. First of all, we're finding 2 words that describe the beetle, and then 2 words that describe the fish. So in the text, which 2 words tell you about the beetle and the fish? Find them and write them down. Question number 4 is also a tick 2, but this is in a different format. What did he do with the shoals of fish? Now we know that the word shoal meant a group of fish swimming in the same direction. Look at those 4 words, look back to the text, and also think what makes sense. What do you know about fish? Question number 5. In the text it says, he scaled the crests of the highest mountains. What have you scaled before? Write down at least 2 things that you have scaled. Now this starts to bring in thinking about linking books to our own experiences as well. Now the extension, which I've already seen some fantastic examples, can you draw a picture of all the places Augustus has looked so far? And then we're also asking you to label this picture with some expanded noun phrases, which is an adjective, comma, adjective, noun. Now to finish off our session today, I'd like you to think about summarising the story. Who are the main characters? Put your 5 fingers up. Where is the story set? How does the story start? What is the problem and how does it get solved? Thank you for reading with me today.